we are very honored and most grateful to be today in the presence of revered Ma Devaki. And we had a satsang with Mataji last year. I reminded you about Advaita, applied Advaita, which is none else than Bhakti. And this year I requested Mataji to speak about surrender, but the message was not conveyed. And Mataji said, I have only one subject, that is God. So, thank you very much for this time with you, Mataji, and we will drink from your words.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So, at the outset, I welcome every one of you here with a heart full of love to the holy lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar. You have no idea how fortunate all of us are to be able to be here. It is such a place filled with his power and grace. Yogi Ji used to say that outside the gate it is different and inside it is different. And he would say, my father has filled up the whole place with his power and grace. And when we built a small room there as meditation hall, he was angry. He said, you call one room in the ashram meditation hall? The whole ashram is meditation hall. So such is the energy, the glory of his grace, that every second you don't have to do any sadhana. You just being here will earn you lots of grace, because Yogi Ji used to say, those who enter this ashram will not go back empty-handed. My Supreme Father's blessings are pouring on them, whether they are aware of it or not. And then he would add, this is the truth. So every second we are here, we are being flooded with the grace of Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the Supreme Father. Let us not distinguish, because you are all Advaitic people, so I can take liberty. So, my text is Yogi Ramsuratkumar, that is God. And whatever I learned from him, whatever I experienced myself, and whatever he taught me, that is all I can speak. I have not read any texts. Yogi Ramsuratkumar often said, my father alone exists. There is nothing else, no one else. And then he would refer to himself as this beggar. And that was in front of people. But sometimes when I was alone or with some people, close devotees, he would say, Devaki, I am the Supreme Father. I alone exist. There is nothing else, no one else. I am the cosmic controller, Devaki. I run the whole cosmos. Then I would say, why wouldn't you say it in front of people? He said, people will take stones and throw it at this beggar. People cannot understand. This beggar cannot speak this language to everyone. So, even as he referred to himself as this beggar, I understood and experienced the Supreme Father in him. One day I asked him, you say this beggar, and then you are being worshipped and we all worship you. And you also say that by the will of the Supreme Father, everything happens. Everything happens only by Father's will, by Father's grace. Whatever happens is Father's grace, he said. And the Father is perfect, and therefore his Leela is perfect. So whatever happens is perfect. Then I asked him, if everything happens only by Father's will, the Supreme Father's will, the one will which is at work all the time, everywhere, why is there a difference between you and me, and you and people? He said, Father works directly through this beggar, whereas in all others, Father works through their egos. That was the only time this question got cleared for me. Until then, I had read many texts, many books, but I never really understood. Because, we are all of our egos are active all the time. And because of this ego, there is selfishness. And there are preferences. There are likes and dislikes. And without knowing, we are judging people and things and circumstances, the world, all the time. Will you agree with me? Oh, this man is tall, this man is short. He is dark, he is white. He is good, he is bad. Oh, this is beautiful, this is very ugly. This judgment doesn't wait to ask you. It's going on in the mind all the time, and without knowing we are reacting also. What does it mean? The ego is very active. And it is the Supreme that has put the ego also in us. So it is very natural. What Yogi Ramsuratkumar taught me was that there is only one Supreme will at work all the time. The Supreme intelligent consciousness out of which the whole cosmos has come. And therefore the whole cosmos is consciousness. And the whole cosmos must be intelligent also, because God is supreme consciousness and He is supreme intelligence. So whatever has come out of God must also be conscious, must also be intelligent. And now, it is this Supreme Father who is sitting in all of us, that is the one, has become the many. And He is in each of us, and it is out of Him our breath starts. You are breathing, every breath that you breathe in and out is rooted in Him, in the source within. You are not even aware that you are breathing. Are you right now? But who is sustaining it? You are not even aware. But there is something inside which is sustaining the breath. It is that something which we call the source of all life. Now that source has put the breath in all of us, and it is sustaining it. It is sustaining your whole body. It has created the body in the first place. Did we create it? Did you create it? Did your parents? Can you say that your parents created it? No. This, what sophistication, what structure. Just think of one part of the body, the eye, how perfect it is. What sophistication. And you have various parts of the body in one integration, and each one performing its role, its function beautifully, in such order and harmony. How is this possible? Supreme intelligence has created this body, and that has put the life in you. So this breath, inhalation and exhalation all the time. And because of this life breath, you are able to think. Your brain works because of the life in the body. Your eyes begin to see because of this life. Your ears hear. You are able to move about freely because of the life in the body. And who put that life there? It is the source of all life, the source of all creation, the source of the cosmos, the entire universe. Now that the same source is sitting inside each of us here. So in fact, there are maybe 60 people here, it is one being, one life. There are 60 minds, 60 egos, but it is one life. And it is the same life, it is the same source that is in a bird, in a worm, in all those insects, in all those mosquitoes that bite you. The mosquitoes are so active because of the Supreme Father. He has put the life, he has put the intelligence in that, so it knows exactly where to go and where to bite. You see, the worm knows where it is wet. And the bird, the trees, everything is brimming with life. And the life of this life is the one God, the one supreme being, the one cosmic, intelligent consciousness. And because it is sitting inside all of us, we are conscious in the first place. We are intelligent. We derive our own consciousness and intelligence from the source. And the worm is deriving its consciousness, its intelligence from the same source. Isn't that Advaita?
Pure
The one
Advaita.
supreme, the one supreme being. Raman Maharishi used to say, there are no jnanis, there is only jnana. That is, there is only the supreme knowledge. There are no knowers. Because the minute you say a knower of knowledge, you call one person Raman Maharishi, another Seshadri Swami, a third one Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and then the followers and the followers clash. They say, no, this one is greater than the other one and that one is greater than this one. And all the followers will be divided. Why? They are divided in mind. The division comes because of the ego. But the knowledge, the supreme knowledge is one and the same. All of them are established in the one absolute truth, then that is, He alone exists and there is nothing else, no one else. Now just now, there are 60 egos sitting here, ego selves. But you know that behind the 60, there is only one supreme life. Isn't that the truth even now? Though it has not become our truth yet, because we have not experienced it, it is still a relative truth because somebody has said so. Raman Maharishi has said so, Yogiji has said so, and so it's a truth from someone. But it has to become our own experience, and then we have to be established in that so that there is no other truth. This becomes the absolute truth for us. So, Raman Maharishi said, what he meant was, the content is the same, the container looks different because we like varieties. One container looks like Raman Maharishi, another looks like Yogi Ramsuratkumar, but the content, like the ultimate truth is the same. And it is the same even now, it is the truth even now. It's the one fundamental truth of life is that one source, one God, seated in the entire cosmos, in all the creatures of the cosmos, in the air, in the fire, in water. So remembering this is Advaitic sadhana. According to me. We're remembering that there is only one being all the time. Your fellow traveler or your enemy, whoever it is, know that the same God is there, and this God, you know what He does? He also likes varieties. So what He has done is, He has put on the costumes of our bodies. This Devaki is one costume, and Swamiji is another costume. And all of you are here different costumes put on by the one being. So He is, not only He has put on the costumes of all of us, He is playing our roles. each one's role to perfection. How does he play this game of life? He has put the ego and he has put a set of latent tendencies in each of us. So his cosmic consciousness, his cosmic intelligence filters through these vasanas and ego. So we have limited consciousness, limited intelligence. And we think that we are playing this role. I mean, we don't play the role, we play ourselves. And it is the one behind all this life that is playing all these roles. So I used to say, one-man show, eternally going on, the world stage. He is everyone. He is the great masters. He is Shiva. When he does the function of destroying, he is called Shiva. When he protects and sustains the world, he is called Mahavishnu. When he creates it, he is called Brahma. And he sits as Indra, as the king of the Devatas. And he is every creature in the whole universe. Not only the creatures, all the elements. He is the stone. And the stone is full of consciousness. Stone has consciousness. Stone has life. You know that the science has proved that metals react. The plants react. The stone also will react if you do experiments on that. How do you know? The same granite you take, you cut it in the form of a linga, and then you chant Veda mantras. It sits in the sanctum sanctorum, and you people, even the great masters, stand before that with folded hands. You make your prayers, and your prayers are being answered. The same stone. How is it? Because the consciousness of the stone is generally in deep sleep. It's withdrawn so much to a center inside that it's not conscious when you walk on it. It happens to all of us in the night when you go to deep sleep. You say that I had sound sleep, I was off like light. You are not aware if a tiger should come and sit next to you, a snake should sneak in and it slides over you. You are aware, you become aware of it only when it bites you. A murderer with a knife should come and sit next to you, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't be aware. You still have consciousness withdrawn inside and you have the breathing going on, so you are alive, there is life there in the body. But the consciousness is withdrawn very deeply that you are not aware of anything happening outside. Now the stone is in that state. Can you say the stone doesn't have life? One day, Yogi Ramsuratkumar and I, we were walking. We were doing the Ashrama Giri Pradakshina. And in the corner, that was the rainy season. And there were only mushrooms there. Then he stopped to ask me, he said, Devaki, do you think these mushrooms have life? Of course, Bhagavan, they are plant. And therefore they must have life. Oh yes. Now what about this earth, Devaki, the soil out of which it comes? Do you think it has life? I said, how can you say that, Bhagavan? It is simply soil. It is the powder, the stone powder. How can this have life? Then he said, okay Devaki, so you think that this is no life. So okay, now you answer. Do you think that life can come out of no life? So it was like a slap. I woke up. I said, yes Bhagavan, so the soil has life. The soil has consciousness. So in Hindu Shastra, in the Puranas, you would come across a Devata, Bhuma Devi, we call her. And she is the embodiment of patience. Because imagine what things are being done on this earth. And she puts up with all that. She is an embodiment of patience. The Devata, the deity of the earth, is always compared. So you see, Advaita, as I know, is admitting the existence of one supreme being. And the supreme being is playing the roles of all of us. So, how does it translate into our daily life? When somebody, and in fact I would say that the Supreme sitting inside you, he is the divine puppeteer. And all of us are puppets in his hand, all of us are machines operated by the divine will, the divine consciousness. You know, he pulls your inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. He pulls the strings of your breath. And then the eyes see, the ears hear, and then you, like I make movements with my hands, and all of us go into action. We walk about and we talk, and what all we talk. This is exactly what is happening. This is the fundamental truth of life, whether you accept it or not. We are all puppets, mere puppets in the hands of the divine puppeteer, the same divine puppeteer who is seated in all of us. In the trees, in the birds, in the storm. So knowing it, how does it help our sadhana? Because we have to relate it to our daily life. To me, sadhana is just not just practicing self-inquiry for some time, or practicing silence, or Advaita. It starts from the moment you wake up. It starts with your breath. When you breathe, when you are alive, you get up in the morning. You know the breath is going on, the breath is there. You have not put it there, it is still there, that you are wonderstruck, it is still there. And because of which the whole body is alive. So there you start, you become aware that this is a role play by the divine, and I am only a puppet in the hands of the divine puppeteer. So when it is so, how can I own up my thinking? It's because of the life in me, the brain is able to think. So you tell me whether the thinking belongs to you, to the ego, or to the source. The source is the life of life in you. And because of this, your brain is able to think. So your thinking is not your thinking. And the words that you speak are not your words. Because you trace the origin of that, it is coming from the source. And so with the actions also. So it is becoming or being aware that you are only an instrument in the hands of the divine. Not only you, everyone in the family, everyone around you. Everyone is only a role play. And so how does it relate to our daily living? You know that everyone, even the Upanishads say, the husband loves the wife, not because she is the wife, because she is the self. The wife loves the husband, not because he is the husband, because he is the self. See how beautifully it says. So if you start practicing that this is only a role play, and it is the divine playing all the roles, you would be able to forgive easily, you would be able to stomach the abuse easily, and nor would you jump in joy when you achieve something, knowing that this achievement comes from the source. Everything comes from the divine. That's why Yogi Ramsuratkumar said, everything happens only by God's will. And whatever happens is perfect because God is perfect. And because it's coming from God, it is grace. So he taught me a very simple thing to live our daily life. He said, whatever happens, accept it as God-given, accept it as a gift of grace from God. It's a blessing from God. So when you begin to look upon everything that happens in life as a blessing, then you are able to accept things much more easily. This is a secret of your daily living. You can keep your equanimity. When somebody praises you, you wouldn't feel new friendliness with them. And when somebody abuses you, you wouldn't entertain, enmity towards them. Nor do you get depressed. Nor do you feel, because our lives are generally governed by fear, sorrow, anger, jealousy, and attachment to things and people. Am I right? It is everybody's experience. If the fear is not there, then anger takes over. If the anger is not there, jealousy. Something or the other. It's because the ego is there. The ego is active. And these are all products of the ego. So when you begin to practice this Advaitic attitude, that the one being is activating everyone else around, then if somebody abuses you, you know that he is not responsible for that, and it is the divine behind it. The divine is doing it to the divine in you. You have to take it like that. This is practice of Advaita. It is the divine in the enemy doing it to the divine in you. The divine doesn't care. So why do you care? You will care only if you think that you exist. If you admit that you exist, it is Dvaita. It is no practice of Advaita. So practical life, when you apply this Advaita, you have to assume, you have to understand there is only one will at work, and there is only one being, and therefore everybody's role is played by the divine being. And so it is acceptable. It is true, people are doing what they are doing helplessly. Why? Because the latent vasanas are inside. The Upanishads say that there is a flame, a tiniest flame inside. Effulgent, supreme, vibrant, living. And around this is another flame, and in the outer flame is kept all the vasanas safeguarded, so that the vasanas are not easily lost. Why? Because vasanas are your past karmas. The past karmas, they leave their impressions on you, and you carry those impressions in your next birth. And so what do they do? The latent vasana, for example, let us take some good vasana. Say I have practiced so much music in my last life that I was a great musician. In this birth, when there is somebody singing somewhere, I would be drawn to that place and I would pick up music like a child. It's like child's play. You just like that, you start singing and singing comes to you perfectly. Why? You have practiced it all your life in your last birth. So the latent tendency inside connects with the externality and then it becomes active. So we cannot help it. God runs the whole world with this law of karma. And this law of karma is relentless, precise. So whatever you give to the world will come back to you. If you have only love for everybody, you can be sure love will come back to you. If you have only abuse for people, you can be sure that it's going to come. Not a single word is wasted. You just say a word of praise about somebody, you can be sure it's going to come back to you one day, sometime, somewhere. And say